This is Fran again. I'm back after that mishap with my camera, giving you the second part of part 4 of the 4 watercolor washes. We had just done the streaked wash, and then I was showing you how to arrange your samples of each of the washes on the papers that I distributed at our first class. Anyway, the flat wash, and it tells you that there's no gradation from top to bottom or side to side. It has one value. This is a great wash for skies or buildings where a flat wash or flat value is needed. And then we have the gradated wash, and this wash is, it goes from dark to light, so it should be this way. We started with a swipe of color, and then following that, we only dipped our brush into water, wet water, and so the color gradually got lighter and lighter as we went down the page. And that's what you would do for achieving that in your landscape paintings, for skies, for mountains, a lot of applications there. And our third wash is the wet into wet wash, and that is the wash that's used more often, and the colors are placed on a wet surface side by side, and you blend them into each other, and then they let them do their own thing, and it usually gives you wonderful results. Great to use in backgrounds and skies, a lot of applications for it. The streak wash is one we just did today, and that is a type of wet into wet wash. It gives a little bit more texture, and it also is a great wash for showing motion and for doing dramatic skies. And we did the sample of the eagle soaring. Now, before we close today, before I end this series on the 4 watercolor washes, I'd like to show you some more examples. This is an example of the wet into wet technique again, and using different colors. So this is a practice sheet that I did. I'd encourage you to do a similar thing. And then to review, here is our flat wash that was made into a painting. And you see how the value, it goes from light to dark. So this was a light wash, this was a wash over it, and so on and so forth, until you get to the darkest. By adding more layers, by adding at the end a little bit of the complementary color to darken it up. The gradated wash, I found another example that I could show you of the gradated wash using the same colors that we had used in our sample. Here is a boat on the water with some suggestion of shadows and leaves and little ripples. No wind, so but you get the idea of the gradation from this end to lighter, and then from the blue, the darker blue, to the lighter blue. And then last week I started a painting, and I did work on it this week, and I wanted to show you the results. There's the picture that I had sketched of my friend reading on the shore of Fourth Lake when we were up in the Adirondacks last September. So there is the finished painting. Of course, it hasn't been matted yet, but I wanted to get you a close-up picture of the tree, because I did that for you in a demo showing you wet into wet, and you really couldn't see it, I don't think, because it was so small. But now, as I give you a close-up of it, you can see the various colors within that tree trunk. It isn't just a flat brown. It's got a multitude of colors in it, and and you can see the background. The sky was done in the wet and wet. We did that last video, and then I put in the distant mountains, and then the water comes up closer to you, and then in the foreground is our main subject. So that's that. And then I had another example of a wet into wet wash I wanted to show you. This is one I did some time ago, but you can see how you can use that application in tree lines. It's I had yellows into lighter greens and then darker greens below it to give you distance, a feeling of distance. And you also see wet into wet here in the boat itself. It's a white boat, but of course it's going to reflect the light of the color from the water and the sky and so forth. So anyway, there's, and here we have like gradated almost. You've got the darker side and it gets lighter as it goes to the other side, which is where the light is coming from. So those are examples. And then our final one today, still quite damp, so I will not be taking off the masking fluid, but there we have the soaring eagle in a sky that's done with a streaked wash. So I hope you've enjoyed this series of 4 classes on the watercolor washes. Sorry about my technical difficulty earlier, and hopefully you'll see both of these tapes and just view them back to back, and I don't think you'll have any problem. Anyway, have fun with watercolor washes. Ciao.